What's up, everyone? Thralls of Metal back again doing an album review. I'm Shredlord.
Miller. Necrotic Nick.
Jammin Jon.
And today we are extremely excited to bring you the brand new album from death metal legends Carcass. The album, of course, is Torn Arteries.
This comes out on the 17th of September on Nuclear Blast Records. Formed in 1986 in Liverpool. This band is, I would say, pretty much influential to almost all extreme metal because they seem to have dabbled in most of it. Started off as grindcore, moved into death metal, melodic death metal, death and roll. Now, this is their 7th full-length, their first full-length in 8 years since Surgical Steel, their big comeback record in 2013. And believe me, we've been excited. We had a nice little teaser last year with the Despicable EP, which, well, yeah, check out that review. It fucking rocked. And finally, we get the full thing here with Torn Arteries, which actually could have been released in 2019, but they just kind of held off on it, and then pandemic. But here we are. We finally got to jam it, and, well, it's a pretty interesting album.
So while diversity is a strength of Carcass, the opening track, Torn Arteries, also the album title, is classic heavy Carcass. Right off the bat, it starts with this excellent climbing riff and goes into all the Carcass tone, riff, and feel that you've grown to love and expect over the years. This song is an excellent way to kick off the album. It is fast-paced, filled with energy, and just balls to the wall.
Riffy, loads of gallops, kind of thrashy.
Kind of thrashy.
A little bit of a callback to Surgical Steel.
The verse riff is awesome, and I just love the flow of the song. And it really goes into the whole album. Everything flows very well in this album.
If the transitions are all nailed, and it's just a good record. It was hard to write notes during this, honestly, because I just wanted to jam.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Yep.
Everything is just, again, buttery smooth. And it's really interesting on this one. This is the first time it's been just Bill Steer on guitars since Symphonies of Sickness. Tom Draper was actually on the Despicable EP, but he isn't on this album. He's still their touring lead guitarist. But it's really interesting because you listen to this and you hear nothing but Bill Steer's awesome guitar work. And if you're a giant Bill Steer fanboy, this is a hell of a moment right here because this is just fantastic riff a minute, melody a minute, harmony a minute stuff. It's incredible. And it's a really interesting listen because it kind of touches on a lot of phases of Carcass's career. Like this kind of goes all the way back to necroticism, all the way up to currently where we're at. Under the Scalpel Blade, Kelly's Meat Emporium, and the gigantic song Flesh Ripping Sonic Torment Limited. All kind of sound a bit like, stuff you'd hear on necroticism and Heartwork era Carcass.
That's what I thought too.
Yep.
Fiercely aggressive, but there's all those cool melodies throughout, and I don't know, that like this just kind of locked in, of course, to why I already love Carcass. These giant songs that are brutal as hell, but somehow also melodic and catchy, and Carcass just knows how to do that right.
Yeah, and Under the Scalpel Blade, which you had mentioned, it was badass when I heard it before. It's badass now. It's just like chunky as hell, groovy as hell, and it's Carcass.
It's a beast of a song.
Yeah.
I mean, which occurs a lot on this album, but that song especially, just chunky melodies and hooks galore.
Yep, and Torn Arteries, they do all the dual guitar stuff. I mean, I'm a Bill Steer fan, of course, and
He shines all over this record.
Yeah, the dual guitar stuff, and it's not even like overly complicated guitar stuff. It just flows really well together. It works really well. Those Carcass harmonies is what you get, and it's all through this album.
So tracks like Wake Up and Smell the Carcass and The Dance of Ixtab draw my ear to the Swan Song era, which is a really awesome, like, blackened rock and roll, Carcassy album.
Death and roll.
Death and roll. It is badass. I love that kind of shit. And it was a little weird with the track Wake Up and Smell the Carcass because of how syncopated that line was with the riff. I don't know if I like it or not like it yet, but it was definitely interesting to say the least.
The riff is so different. Like, it is very much that Swan Song era where, like, the riff's got a little bit more rock hooks, but it was still, like, with the death metal tone and everything, so the whole death and roll thing. It's a really interesting song. I love the breakdown on Wake Up and Smell the Carcass. That is just Groove City on that. It just has this sort of bouncy swing to it. And Dance of Ixtab has one of the best opening segments for possibly any Carcass song. It's like they're stabbing an arena rocker. Like, come on, let's get the fists up and It just has that, like big floor tom hit, snare, floor tom hit. Like, it just keeps building up, and then you get that glorious chuggy riff that comes in, and I don't know, man. There's just something about that song. I was like, all right, death and roll like this, I can 100% get into. But the Wake Up and Smell the Carcass one was a little odd, but it still was good. Actually, all of this was good. I really didn't have a problem with any of the songs.
They have moments like that, those big arena type rock. But in Kelly's Meat Emporium, it's like Carcass death metal, like all the way, straight through.
Blasty, blackened, melodic powerhouse.
Well, it's a straight Carcass death metal.
It really
I
is.
fucking love Carcass doing the new death metal. I love Carcass regardless.
I mean, Carcass is...
Floor to the accelerator pedal.
Yep.
If there is one, I wouldn't even say a complaint, but if there's one song that maybe didn't make as much sense to me structure-wise as the rest of them, it would be the song Eleanor Rigor Mortis. And I guess what I mean by that is, at times it feels a little disjointed as far as the songwriting goes. It feels like maybe they put two different songs together somehow. And
It's a song sandwich.
Because it starts out kind of like punky, thrashy type.
Like Exodus and Overkill, you get the shreddy lead, and then this big mid-tempo, bulk of the song. And then the back end, like the back 30 seconds, we're back to the thrashy section.
Yeah, I'm still a sucker for that.
I mean, I liked
that,
it. I liked it. It just, I don't know, it's...
But there weren't many changes in that song. The solo was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The
but
solo's
there weren't,
all over
like,
this album.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I loved every lead on here.
Yep.
Bill puts such feel into all of his solos, and he just has a knack for melody. And even though the song was a little disjointed, I still found stuff that I liked. You know, Jeff can snarl his way through whatever song as long as he's got like those riffs behind him. And Daniel's drumming on here is absolutely fantastic too. Like the whole rhythm section on this it's just pummeling groove, blast beats with a kind of pocket. There's not as many blast beats on this as there were on Surgical Steel. This isn't as fast of an album. It's definitely more mid-tempo, but you're just greeted to everything you like about Carcass. And again, you kind of get this sampler platter of all things Carcass.
And they still do those like Carcass staple tempo changes that roll into a groove or roll out of a groove or whatever. The tone on this album anyway is killer.
Bill Steer has ungodly, he has for a long time. If you're a guitar player and you like metal, Bill Steer is criminally underrated as a guitarist, as a songwriter, as a lead player, and as a tone master, because his
the tone
leads
is sick as fuck.
are incredible.
Dude,
and
even
the
his clean tone at the intro of this song was just butter.
Bill Steer is a treasure. Cherish him.
Yeah, Flesh Ripping Sonic Torment Limited. What a long title, but also quite possibly the longest song they've ever written. It's over 9 minutes long, and holy shit, it's
it
a
didn't
riff
seem
fest.
like that long, though.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the sign of like it's really good.
It's
Like, dude, I want more. It's like there was 9 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
when I noticed like a riff stand out, I was like, "Hey Nick, where's that at?" And he's like, "Oh, we're like 7 minutes in." I was like, "What?" And they're still coming out with riffs that are just fucking awesome in this song.
Oh, did that breakdown at the end of it?
Do the breakdown.
Right into that last like ending solo
Like you
thing.
just smelled a diaper.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude, like there's stank face riffs all over this, but
Everywhere.
that breakdown. I mean, that whole song, 9 minutes of just death metal glory.
Well, and the drum grooves in tandem with the riffs, like the drum grooves reminded me of almost like Immolation style drums, where he would use a fill as the main source of the groove. And then I got reminded of like Pantera style, like southern grooves in this, which was strange.
There's a little bit of that, like the Scythe's Remorseless Swing. Jesus, that's a tongue twister. That actually, the opening is kind of a callback to like just like 90s metal in general, like Pantera, just like a, I don't know, like kind of groove metal sort of 90s
But
thing.
it was dark too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought about that though. It wasn't for me anyway. It wasn't a particularly strong ending to the album. It's a good song, but I thought it would have been better fit in to the middle maybe.
Flesh Ripping probably should have closed it.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too.
Jesus, what a
But-
song.
Limited though.
Limited.
Yep.
Limited time only.
That's why it's only 9 minutes. Could have been 18 minutes of Flesh Ripping. That's unlimited.
You got to pay extra for that plan.
I'll buy that bonus edition then. Give me more Flesh Ripping terror.
So overall, I'm gonna give this album a 4 out of 5. I think Carcass did a damn good job of coming back into the forefront and showing everyone else that they can be a death metal band and as heavy as any death metal band, but do it with finesse and melody that you probably can't. Bill Steer, once again, is a national treasure. Everything he touches, riffs, leads, compositions turn to gold. His partnership with Jeff Walker is criminally underrated. and Carcass is a band that should be celebrated. This album, I don't know where it fits into the discography, but I definitely know it will be pretty decently ranked, I think, when it's all said and done, because this is a good album. It doesn't have maybe as many memorable, catchy moments as other albums that they've had in the past.
Steep competition.
Yeah.
And once again, we'll see over time what sticks and what doesn't stick. So 4 out of 5, solid. I've been waiting for this. I am not disappointed.
4 out of 5 for me as well. I agree with pretty much everything that Shred said. Songs are very well constructed. The buttery smooth transitions. The musicianship. I love it when the old schoolers show everybody else how it's supposed to be done.
And they've been doing it all year.
Yeah. And they've been just repeat offenders in that situation. Yeah, I could go on and rant, but I'm not gonna. Go listen to it for yourself. It's fucking killer.
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. Same thing. I love Carcass. I love Bill Steer. Walker's the man. Like you said, they have a great relationship together, and it shows in the music, the flow of everything, the groove, the thrash, the death. It's everything I love about music, all wrapped into one. I love the fucking vocals. I love his style. I love his very distinctive voice. You know it right off the bat, and that's what makes this band memorable, is their hooks and their guitar playing, the riff writing, the song structure, and the vocals. It all ties together, a nice little fucking metal bow.
I'm going to go with 4 as well, so 4's all around. I was so excited for this album that I almost vomited my anal tract. That's a reference. I hope you got it. This is Carcass pretty much kind of going all over the place. It's not as like centered and straightforward of an album as Surgical Seal was, but I like the fact that there's some still love for the past in terms of like, you know, different stuff they did, but this is all still very fresh, hook laden as hell, doesn't skimp on the heaviness. Bill Steer rules, pretty much covered that. But I mean, flat out, another absolutely awesome album from Carcass. Totally worth the wait. If you are a diehard Carcass fan, there's a good chance you already pre-ordered it. But if you weren't sure, go get it. It's Carcass. You'll love it.
So, if you like the review, please hit the like button. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, because it notifies you of when we release new videos, which is all the time, and it welcomes you into our community as well. Speaking of which, we are doing a giveaway when we reach 7,500. Oh my gosh. We are giving away a gigantic 8 CD pack, one of which is the Cannibal Corpse CD with the unreleased
You can
art.
see her naughty bits.
Ooh.
And the ripped apart baby.
Which is pretty sexy.
Whatever you're into.
Anyway, if you like to support our channel, there's our link down to our Patreon below. Also, we have shirts still available, so if you would like a Thralls of Metal shirt, then go ahead and send an email to thrallsofmetal@gmail.com with the title shirt, and we will get an invoice to you.
So, with that, we thank you all for watching. Once again, thank you for subscribing, following us. It has been a fun ride so far, and we're going to keep it as fun as possible. Thank you again. We will catch you later.
Keep on rotting in a free world.